G'day mates, Keg11 here and welcome to the 1997 Argentine Grand Prix from the Autodromo Oscar y Juan Galvez in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Now, before we begin, let me point out that this is the only track on this 1997 calendar that I have next to not driven at all. Mainly because that it's been next to no racing video games I've played in my life. These seem to be the only ones. And there's a good reason for this, is because there hasn't been a lot of international racing on this track in the last decade or so. In Formula 1, the Argentine Grand Prix on this track has been on and off. The last time it was raced, it was 1998. It wasn't pursued in 1999 due to lack of interest. And it was dropped in favour of the new Malaysian Grand Prix. That is one of my favourite tracks, by the way. So, apart from the general physics engine of this game being not my cup of tea, but I have to learn the track as well, and it is quite a hard track, even as Murray Walker would explain in the intro when you play this game. That it's tight, it's windy, there's several corners that go uphill which are blind because of the game. Not a very good track to race on. Now, this race in real life was raced over 72 laps. Although it was cloudy during the race, overall it was quite dry. Jacques Villeneuve got on pole, followed by Untitled Chapter in second. Good result for Untitled Chapter. A Williams lockout like it was back in Brazil in my game. Right, that. Following third, surprisingly third, is Olivier Panis in the Prost. Another a good result for them. And equally as impressive was Rubens Barrichello, my teammate, qualified in 5th place. So, very good result. It looked quite promising for the Stewart team. Never turned out that way, though, because at the start of the race, he collided into Michael Schumacher. Well, Michael Schumacher swerved to avoid some oil left by Heinz-Harald Frentzen on the grid, and narrowly avoided a crash with Panis. Panis slowed down and let Schumacher pass rather than have an accident, but unfortunately Schumacher crashed into Barrichello, which will be his future teammate, and Barrichello would retire in a few laps time due to hydraulic failure. Also, as a result from that incident, it also caused David Coulthard to crash to the back of Ralf Schumacher, and that broke Coulthard's front suspension, which saw Coulthard out straight away. So, big calamities on the first lap. Later on, Frentzen, ever wonder what that oil slick for Frentzen was about? Well, obviously it was something bad, and it sure turned into something bad on lap 6 when Frentzen's throttle went. Same thing happened to Olivier Panis, quite unfortunately, on lap 18. The only other interesting fact about this race was that both Jordans collided on lap 24, which saw Giancarlo Fisichella out of the race. Quite embarrassing for the Jordan team, and obviously some words are going to be spoken at the end of that race. But if you look towards the front, Villeneuve had a relatively hassle-free run and managed to win the race, followed by Eddie Irvine in second, and Ralf Schumacher at the cost of Coulthard and Fisichella came in third. And on that note, Frentzen's great pole position, great qualifying, and Irvine's great result saw their relationship with their teams in the midst of their poor performance over the season so far. Their team's relationships were much better, which hopefully I can say the same for Frentzen in my game, because he's gone 2 races, one of which without any points, one of which retiring. Not so much for Irvine. Irvine is consistently in the top 6, which is good. Speaking about positioning, let's have a look at the overall standings. In first place, we have Jacques Villeneuve on 20 points, following on his 2 wins in Australia and Brazil, so good job by him. And following on behind him is Gerhard Berger. Like Villeneuve, got the same positions in Australia and Brazil, but he got second place, so that's why he's on 12 points. In third place, we see Jana Lacey, only by just having failed to score in Brazil. He's allowed the Ferraris of Eddie Irvine and Michael Schumacher to catch up. So Lacey is 1 point ahead of Eddie Irvine, which in turn is 1 point ahead of Michael Schumacher. The great performance by the Ferrari drivers in that race saw Olivier Panis in the Prost and David Coulthard in the McLaren slide down the order on 3 points and 1 point respectively. In the case of Coulthard, he is now drawn for 7th place by Giancarlo Fisichella in the Jordan. And following on from that, in 9th place and drawn with the rest of the group, we have Kent Levin, still yet to get off the mark. I would like to say that I'd like to get some points this round, but considering what track I'm up against, that seems to be relatively unlikely. And in the Constructors' Championship, Williams is in the lead with 20 points. Villeneuve has been the only one scoring for the team. Frentzen needs to really up his game on this. And following behind in second place is Benetton by 2 points. So we can probably see Benetton, John Lacey and Gerhard Berger try to push to keep on the toes of Williams. However though, Ferrari seems to have picked up a bit with 9 points. They overtook Prost in the standings and now are running third. So if the two go, if Irvine and Michael Schumacher go well in this race, you can pretty much see them either getting close to Benetton or actually overtaking them. Outside this, Prost, as I said, 4th place on 3 points, and McLaren, Mercedes, and Jordan Peugeot on 1 point each. Stewart has yet to leave the mark on 0 points. And now, let's have a look at the qualifying results for this race. Right, now in the leading position, we have Jacques Villeneuve with a 15.646, followed by Heinz-Harald Frentzen, another Williams lockout. In third place is Irvine, and in fourth with Alesi, then Schumacher and Schumacher. The Schumacher brothers are on the same row. That should be relatively interesting. Following that behind, Gerhard Berger in 7th, Coulthard in 8th, Hakkinen in 9th, Fisichella 10th. Olivier Panis, not 11th place, not as good as it was in real life. We were hoping in a better position there. Rubens Barrichello, 119.015 and starting 15th place. And in 18th, you see me with a 119.6, I think, which is excellent considering that I had a lot of trouble. I actually, same thing happened in Brazil, I did a race of this before but forgot to record. And it was a bit of a shambles. My qualifying time was just outside the 107%, but did show potential for more. I commented to myself I would have had a faster time if only I had not screwed up at Curva de Parga at the end of the track. But as you can see here, I did a much better position and got not in last place but 18th. It's still back of the pack, but with a track like this, it's what we can expect. And following behind me is your normal motley crew of Tyrrells, Arrows, and Minardis. So, I can't wait to get this race over and done with, so enough chit chat from me, let's get this race underway.
The drivers are lined up on the grid now, preparing themselves for the start. The red lights are beginning.
Ah, there's the back view. Here we go.
Argentina 1997 is go. This is the critical time now.
Oh, yes.
Superlative. He's got past.
Okay, maybe not. I thought I could get him on the outside, maybe not. Hang back, hang back, hang back. Was that Tyrrell or was that my teammate? Fatback says it was my teammate. Should have brought him in there in second. Oh. Now there's my teammate.
He's been caught napping there. That's past Katayama. He just collided with Denise.
No comment there. Oh.
If he goes on with that behaviour, he'll almost certainly be black flagged.
Gotta pick up my game. I'm caught napping big time. I don't want to repeat on my first run through this race. I want to actually get a position, a proper position, and finish on the lead lap.
Back two.
Looks like Hill got past. Probably Barrichello.
I'm looking at the lap times now. He's not as fast as the race leader at intermediate one. Race order. In first place,
Looks like I'm catching to someone.
Harold Franson. In second place, Michael
Again.
Schumacher.
No,
In
I
third
can't.
position, Williams number one. In fourth position, Eddie Irvine.
But I think it was
In
Barrichello
fifth
actually.
place, Ralph Schumacher. Sixth, Giancarlo Fisichella. I'm looking at the lap times now. That's a bit off the pace set by the race leader.
Big mistake there. Sounds like it's Katsuyama in the Minardi behind me. Gotta concentrate on the road. You're going to hear a lot of radio signs from here on out.
That lap will certainly help him catch the car in front. He's closing the gap.
If I stuck it into second, I probably would have got Barrichello. I know I can pass cars on this track.
And the gap is closing. Now, what about the drivers in the lower position? In 16th place, Damon Hill. In 17th place, Rubens Barrichello. In 18th place,
There we go.
Jan Magnussen. 16th, Damon Hill. 17th, Jan Magnussen. 18th, Rubens Barrichello. He's losing ground.
Even still, I'm not going too badly on this run. Yes, I'm down the order, but I'm having good rhythm and having
This young
not too bad
man
race.
really is a superlative driver.
Far behind Hill, 3 seconds, achievable. And speaking of Hill, I can see him right now.
He's coming up from behind now.
Tyre wear is getting bad. Come into the pits.
Speaking of, it's the 5th lap, so I'm pitting in this lap. Because another thing I did wrong in the last one is gamble and go a lap ahead. But if I wanted to do that, I should have conserved my tyres a bit better, which I didn't, and I ended up spinning around all over the place.
In third, Williams number 1. Hang on! In fourth position, Eddie Irvine. In fifth, Ralph Schumacher. Sixth, Giancarlo Fisichella. He's coming up from behind now.
He's crossed the white line now. That means you have to slow down to 75 miles per hour in the pit lane, which he does by hitting a button that activates the rev limiter.
The team's been practicing this.
Ooh, 4 seconds. That is very, very good time. And I managed to get a driver.
Absolutely perfect stop. His lap time is quicker than the car he's chasing.
He really is equipping himself exceptionally well, despite his lack of experience.
The gap is increasing.
16th place. I got. No, I didn't get an extra place. Might have. My next opponent is Nicola Rini in the Sauber.
Let's have a look at the race order lower down. 7th, Mika Häkkinen. 8th, Johnny Herbert. In 9th place, Olivier Panis.
That's Hill, thinking about it. Don't know if he can get past me, and I've got him. Oh, I bet Diniz. See what I mean?
Excellent. He's passed Mika Salo.
Did I? Must have been in the pits. Oh, almost spun out because of the grass. Hightower Francis got the fastest time with a 19.03. Very good for him. Let's hope he's able to place. He's currently in 3rd place. If he wants to stay with the team, he needs to get
He's dropping back a bit.
point scoring place. And I need to shut up so I can hopefully catch up to Larini. I hope I have enough fuel for it. I did put 6 laps in. Yeah, I should be fine.
Race order. In 1st place, Williams number 1.
Good
In
enough.
2nd, Eddie Irvine. In 3rd place, Heinz Harold Frentzen. 4th, Michael Schumacher. What's happened? There are only 3 laps left in this race now. 5th, Jean Alesi. In 6th position, Giancarlo Fisichella. The gap is increasing.
Looks like I can't catch Larini, so I have to nurse the car home and finish in 16th. I can only think that Rubens is behind me, so not a terribly good result for Stewart in this race. However, I've been the only one scoring really high. This is Ruben's average, so. I'm not sure what the stewards are going to be saying back in the pits.
He's dropping back a bit.
Or forward for that matter, but obviously this is a race. I knew from the start this race was obviously one to forget. Not pushing myself hard, but this was, as I said before, I did not know this track terribly well. So there wasn't a lot of opportunity for me to really maneuver about and get a good position for the offset. But after this race, we've got the European calendar. All the tracks of which I have raced on, because the European calendar never changes.
Let's have a look at the race order lower down. 10. David Coulthard. 11.
There.
Shinji Nakano. In 12th place, Rubens Barrichello.
Who's that behind? Nah, it's Pedro Diniz and the Arrows. For a second I thought it was a Benetton or something. I need to hold him off so I can lock down 16th place. And it looks like I've just pulled some distance on him, so that should not be a problem. And it's starting to get a bit tense here. Alright, there goes Curva de Parga. Now I'm on to my final lap. One more lap and this race is over and done with for 97.
We're into the final lap.
Curva numero uno. Cross Confitadera. And I should shut up right now. Should concentrate on Diniz, not what each corner is called. Right on my keister.
Race order. Williams number 1.
I closed the door and adjust. By sound things, it wasn't quite up my side, because if it was half, I could see.
It's a win for the Canadian. I'm sure Frank Williams and the rest of the Williams team will be absolutely delighted with this win. Second, Eddie Irvine.
Oh, not bad.
Heinz Harold Frentzen.
Hey,
there we go. Untitled Frentzen has redeemed himself. Thank goodness.
Get ready to pit in.
I'm looking at the lap times now.
And across the finish line.
16, Jan Magnussen. He's
there we go. The 1997 Argentine Grand Prix over and done with. Thank goodness. And all in all, it was a much better race than when I first went through. Very thought out and probably with experience on my side. Well, I got the result that I should have got in the previous race. So I'm very, very chuffed about that. And equally as good, as we can see here, Untitled Frentzen redeems herself with a brilliant third place, although 5 seconds behind the winner, Jacques Villeneuve. So the battle towards the front was more or less battle between Villeneuve and Irvine. So as you can see here, Villeneuve first, Irvine second, Frentzen third, Michael Schumacher 4th place. So just off his just off the pace for his 3rd place from last round, but a good result nonetheless. Actually, now that I look about it, it was 2 packs of a Ferrari and a Williams. Who would have thought? But behind that pack of 4, we have Jean Alesi in the Benetton. With that said, Gerhard Berger is nowhere in sight. So you can be sure that he's going to be losing his 2nd spot, potentially. we'll see in a minute. And following behind Jean Alesi to get the final point is Giancarlo Fisichella at 6th place again, and moves Jordan's tally to 2 and past McLaren. McLaren have failed to score in this race. I got a feeling that we had another retirement. I'm not sure who that is, but it has helped me get to 16th place. So I think that was 2 up on my qualifying result, which is a really good place. I think Barrichello would be behind me on by about a place or 2. I know for a fact Petronis is behind me, and so is Hill. So depends on your point of view how we went for Stewart. I believe I went okay. The team went moderately okay. The norm. Considering this, as I said, this is a track which I do not really like. Other than that, Jacques Villeneuve got the fastest lap with 1 minute 18.923, just beating that of Frentzen. So therefore, in the Drivers' Championship, we see Villeneuve holding out a commanding lead with 30 points, 3 wins to his name. Following him in second is Gerhard Berger, just edging out Eddie Irvine for 2nd place, only 1 point ahead of Irvine. 4th place we have Jean Alesi on 8 points, but he is fighting Michael Schumacher for that position. So big battle there going with the Ferraris and the Benettons in the constructor standings. Following from them, 6th place is Heinz-Harald Frentzen on 4 points after his excellent 3rd place in this race. So he's moved him up, jumped quite a few drivers actually to get to that position, and finally giving Villeneuve the support he needs. Failing, Olivier Panis follows him in 7th place with 3 points, not scoring again for Argentina. I can only think that there's some concern going with Prost. Maybe some of their optimism might have gone by the wayside because of it. 8th place, Giancarlo Fisichella flying the flag for Jordan in 8th place. Bunny hopping David Coulthard in 9th on 2 points, and as I said, Coulthard 1 point in Australia. The McLaren team not going very well. Neither Hakkinen scoring 0 as well as Coulthard. Myself, Barrichello, and most of the other drivers I have not said have yet to leave the mark on 0 points. And speaking about McLaren and how the team is going, in the Constructors' Championship, Williams has put out a big lead over Benetton with 14 points to Williams' name, see them on 34 points. Benetton have changed now from fighting Williams to coming in defending from Ferrari. Ferrari are now on 18 points, 2 points behind Benetton. And following behind them, we've got Prost on 3 points, Jordan on 2 points, and then McLaren on 6 points. So all in all, not a bad race. Season is heating up very nicely, and very excited because now we've got European races. As such, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I did, much better than the first time around, and I'll see you guys at the next round at San Marino.